live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.
Benny Ricciardi is here to break down the day's betting board for you.
Let's go, Jerry. Go!
Taking a first look at the day.
Welcome to the Week 1 Sports Betting Picks video here at 4deep.com. I am Benny Ricciardi. It is the 2023 NFL season, and we're going to take a look at every game on the slate. So the first game we're going to talk about here is the Thursday night football game to kick off the 2023 NFL season between the visiting Detroit Lions and the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 6.5-point favorites in this game, 6.5 at standard -110 juice over on DraftKings, juiced up a little bit at -120 over on FanDuel. So on DraftKings, you get paid like 91 cents on the dollar. On FanDuel, you're going to get about 86 cents on the dollar. So rather play them over on DraftKings if you're going to be playing them at all. The Lions are plus 6.5. They are -110 over on DraftKings. They are -102 over on FanDuel. So if you're going to take the spread there, that's the better place. When I break this game down, I actually get the Chiefs should be favored by about 8.5 points. So there is a little bit of value here on the Kansas City side. You're crossing over that key number of 7 right there, which is always something we like to do. Again, Kansas City, 17-3 record last year, but just 8-11-1 against the spread. The Lions were actually very good. I think they had the second best record against the spread in the NFL last year, or the second best winning percentage, I should say, at 70.6%. They were 12-5 against the spread last year. So this is a tough one for me. My numbers are pointing to the Kansas City Chiefs here. Like I said, I got about 2 points of value on this game. We are crossing the 7 there because I have this game at -8.5 for the Chiefs. So Chiefs -6.5 over on DraftKings is the way that I would be playing it. I also like the idea of teasing the Chiefs down to, -0.5 or so as part of a teaser leg here to start off the NFL season. The next game up is going to be the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. San Francisco, 2.5-point favorite here on both DraftKings and FanDuel. When I break the number down on this game, I actually get San Francisco should be favored on the road by 2.5 points. So there isn't really any value here. Both of these teams in 2022 were very good against the spread. They both won over 62% of their games against the spread last year. So these are teams that basically about 2/3 of the time wound up covering. They're going up against each other here. I think the 49ers are going to wind up taking a bunch of money. I'm always a little nervous when they have them at 2.5 because -2.5 is a number that's almost begging you to take the 49ers here. And again, I think the 49ers are a much better team than the Steelers are, but I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Could wind up coming down to a field goal at the end or something along those lines. I just don't have any faith to put any money on it. I like the 49ers, but my numbers don't tell me to play this game. The next game up, Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Cleveland Browns here. When I break this game down, let's start here. The Bengals are favored on the road by -1.5 points, right? So not really much there. When I break it down, though, I get Cincinnati should be favored by -2. So again, not much value on this game, not anything that I'd be willing to go out there and take. If you want to take Bengals -1.5, again, I have a little bit of value on it, about 0.5 point, but not anything that's really going to have me, over the moon trying to take the Cincinnati Bengals here. We got to see how Joe Mixon is going to play after everything he had in the offseason. We also have to see how Joe Burrow is going to be doing, with the injury that he suffered. Everything looks like he's going to be ready for week 1, so probably isn't anything to worry about there. I just don't see any value on this game. Next game, we got the Houston Texans taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are a big 10-point favorite on both DraftKings and FanDuel. When I break my number down on this game, I get the Ravens should be favored by about 11.5. So I do think there's a little bit of value here on the Ravens if you want to take them straight up. I also like this a lot as a teaser piece where you tease the Ravens down to -4. I know -4 is not really a number that, is crossing over many of the key numbers or something that we normally like to do. But honestly, I just don't think that the Texans are going to be any good this year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Dameon Pierce has a big game. Maybe the rookie quarterback, C.J. Stroud, has a big game. But really, when you look at these two rosters, the Ravens are just a ton better than the Texans are. So I don't even mind laying the -4 on the teaser here. I like the Ravens if you want to take them straight up at -10 as well. The next game up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. 6.5-point spread on this game with the Vikings being favored at home. The Vikings were a little bit overrated to me last year, and my numbers kind of show it here. I have that the Vikings should be favored in this game by 2.5, maybe 3 points. So 6.5 is just way too many points for me. I love Tampa Bay plus 6.5 here in this game. I also love Tampa Bay as a teaser piece. You can tease them up to 12.5, get through the 7, get through the 10, get up there to 12.5 points right there. Listen, Minnesota was one of those teams that they were lucky last year. And I don't say lucky like they weren't a decent team, but they weren't a great team. And their record showed that they were a great team. And people are just giving them way too much credit. I also don't think Baker Mayfield is as bad as other people do. And I think he's going to be okay. Now, again, do I think he's going to be great? No, but I think he's going to be okay. I don't think the Vikings are going to beat them by 2 or 3 touchdowns here. So, again, love the teaser up to 12.5. Love the Buccaneers plus 6.5, since my number on this game is only like 2.5 to 3. The next game up, the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Washington Commanders. I don't think either one of these teams are very good, but it also goes to show you how bad the Cardinals are. They just cut Colt McCoy this week. They put Kyler Murray on the PUP list. It is going to be an absolute struggle for this team to do anything on the offensive side of the football here. So I don't even see how they're going to score any points. So like I said, as much as I don't love the Commanders, I do think the Commanders deserve to be a favorite in this game. And I actually have them favored by -8 is the number that my power rankings come out to here. So Washington -8. Again, at -7, there's not really a lot that we could do here. There's not a lot of value. You're already at that 7. If it was 6.5, yeah, I would love to take it and get that key number. At 7, I think the best thing you can do is tease the home Washington Commanders down to -1 and use that as part of a teaser. Probably the only way that I would play this game. Next game up, Tennessee Titans taking on the New Orleans Saints. Let's see here. -3.5 on DraftKings, only -3 over there on FanDuel. So that's something that we'll talk about here in a second. When I break down the numbers on this game, I get New Orleans should be favored, let's see, by about 4 points in this game. If you're going to take anything, I much prefer the -3 that you have over there on FanDuel. That's probably the better place to play it. Again, I have -4. I'm not going to lay 3.5 if I can get a -3. That just makes absolutely no sense. So to me, taking the Saints at -3 is probably the way to go here. Like I said, a little bit of value here. I have it at -4. Not really a huge fan of the Titans, although I do think they're healthy and they should be the best that they've been. And remember, the Saints are going to be without Alvin Kamara for the first week, but with the addition of Jamal Williams, I'm not too worried about that. Williams was a pretty good running back for Detroit last year. Plus, they have that kid Kendre Miller, who I think is going to be pretty decent 1-2 punch with Jamal Williams the first couple of weeks of the season. So I like the Saints. If you're going to take them, take the -3 over on FanDuel at -110. Don't lay the hook if you don't have to on DraftKings. The next game up is the Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are 3.5-point favorites on both DraftKings and FanDuel in this game. When I break down my number here, I actually get Atlanta should be favored by only about 1 point. So I think this is actually too many points with Atlanta being favored by 3.5 here. Yes, this is a easy division, but these are still 2 bad teams. Everybody is excited about Bijan Robinson and Desmond Ridder starting at quarterback. I mean, you have 2 young quarterbacks in this game. You have 2 bad teams in this game. I don't think either one of these teams deserves to be favored by more than a field goal. So I think the value in this game is actually on the Panthers at +3.5. I also don't hate the Panthers as part of a teaser piece, teasing them up to +9.5. You get through the 7, the 6, a lot of the key numbers that we have there. I would like it more if it goes up to +4, because then you can tease them up to, 10 and get the full 10 points there. But even without that, like I said, I only have the Falcons should be favored by 1 point here, and that's including home field advantage. This is actually a pick 'em, or I have the Panthers slightly better than the Falcons, or right around the same in my power rankings here. I don't have much of a difference between these 2 teams here. Maybe I'm a little higher on the Panthers and a little lower on Atlanta than other people are. I just think 3.5 is too many points. So I will take the +3.5 with the Panthers rather than lay -3.5 with the Falcons. Next game up, we move on to the 4:00 games here on Sunday, and that's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New England Patriots. Philly is favored by 4.5 points in this game. I think 4.5 is too many points. I have the Eagles should be favored by 3 here. The Patriots defense is one of the better ones in the league last year. Yes, the offense is kind of struggling. They're not they're not going to be a juggernaut like they were in the Tom Brady days. They're not going to put up a lot of points on the board. But I also don't think the defense is going to give up a ton of points here too, even against a really good offense like the Philadelphia Eagles. Do I think the Eagles win this game? Yeah, I do think the Eagles are more likely to win this game. I wouldn't take the Patriots money line or anything like that. And I'm actually not even taking the Patriots at +4.5, even though my number is only Eagles -3. I think the Eagles could wind up winning and covering in this game. But again, if my number is 1.5 points below what the spread being offered is, I don't think there's any value here. So I'm going to be avoiding this Eagles Patriots game. Like I said, I give the Patriots defense is very good. I think people are discounting how good the Patriots defense is. Yes, the Eagles offense is very good as well, but 4.5 just feels like too many points here. Next game up, Green Bay Packers taking on the Chicago Bears. Let's see here. We have -2 on both FanDuel. No, I'm sorry, -2 on DraftKings, only -1.5 over there on FanDuel. And I actually think both of those numbers are a little too high because when I break it down, I only get the Bears should be favored by -1 here. So what do we do with this game? Well, really, there's not a lot to do here. If it was +3, then I'd be a little more inclined to take the Packers. +2, it's below a field goal. The 2 is not really a key number, not really anything I want to do there. But I do think teasing the Packers up to +8 over on DraftKings is something that I would be willing to do there. Again, you're getting through the 3, you're getting through the 7. Those are the best teaser legs that you could have. I'd like it a little more if Green Bay was at home and we were able to do that. But even on the road, anytime you can get through the key numbers of 3 and 7, that's something you want to be doing with your teaser. So +2 on the Packers, you add 6 points to that, you get it up to +8. Like I said, I think the Bears are favored by a little bit too many here. I only have Bears -1 in my power rankings number. So I think Packers +8 as part of a teaser leg is something I'd be looking to do. Other than that, not really touching this game. If you want to bet this game and you want to bet the Bears, I would probably just take the money line. I hate whenever I have to, get a number under a spread there. So if you want to bet the Packers, I would definitely take the money line at +105 there. But for me, the best way to play it is just teasing it up to +8. Next game up, the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks. 4.5 points the Seahawks are favored by on both DraftKings and FanDuel here today. I get Seattle should be favored by a field goal, so it's just a few too many points here for me. If I was playing in a pool where I had to make a pick on this game, I would go Rams at +4.5. But since we're betting and you get to pick which games you want to put your money on, this is not one of those games that I would want to put my money on at all. I'm going to be avoiding this altogether. I think 4.5 is too many points here for the Seahawks, but it's not enough to get me to want to bet the Rams, even though they're getting an extra 1.5 over what my, power ratings say they should. Next game up, this is one of my favorite games. Going to be a game where a lot of people have a lot of exposure to it who are playing fantasy here. I think we can get some big numbers from both of these teams. Chargers are an offense that I'm expecting to play a lot faster, get a lot more plays, put up a lot more offensive numbers this year. Expected a big year out of Justin Herbert. And then even on the other side with the Dolphins, we'll have to see whether or not they get Jonathan Taylor, which is something that a lot of people are saying is going to happen in the next day or two. So we'll see whether or not that actually does happen. Chargers are favored by 3 over on DraftKings. They're -2.5, juiced up to -122 down on FanDuel there. If you wanted to play them at -3 over on FanDuel, you'd probably be looking at a number very similar to what you're getting over here on DraftKings. But 2.5 is the number that they have offered. I actually didn't even see a -3 that you could play. They had -2.5 and -3.5 on the alternate line. So they're trying to make you take one side or the other with the half point there. When I broke this game down, I get the Chargers should be favored, but I have the Chargers only favored by 2 points here. So if you want to play this game, I guess taking the +3 on the Dolphins over on DraftKings would be the way to go. Again, it's not a huge difference between those two teams. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Dolphins win this game outright either. +128 over on FanDuel, the better place to play it over there. I hate taking a +2.5, even though it is, juiced down a little bit to even money instead of having to lay -110. Take the full 3 if you're going to do it there. So many games end on a field goal in the NFL. It is one of the most popular numbers that we see. It's why it's a key number every year. I hate taking +2.5 because you know what? If this game does come down to a field goal at the end, you're going to be kicking yourself just to try to make an extra, couple bucks off of $100, $200 bet or whatever you're looking to do there. If you're going to do that, rather than take +2.5, I'd rather just take the money line if you're going to do that. So don't do it just to get the even money there. Take the full +3, lay the -110. Trust me, it's going to work out in your favor more often than not. Next game up here, we got the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Denver Broncos, the last of the 4 o'clock games that we have here. Let's see. The Broncos are -4.5. Broncos are -4.5 on DraftKings. They are -4 on FanDuel at a -115. So let's see. What am I looking at here with these numbers? I break everything down. I get Denver should only be favored by 1 point in this game. I don't know where this 4.5 and -4 are coming from. Again, maybe I'm a little bit lower on the Broncos. A lot of what my numbers is based off of what we saw from them last season. And they weren't very good last season. They're not going to have Jerry Jeudy for this first game here as well. They didn't look very good last year. Javonte Williams is still, not 100%. There are just so many question marks with this Broncos team. I don't understand why they're -4.5. Listen, I don't think Jimmy G is a superstar quarterback either, but I think he's at least serviceable enough to keep the Raiders in a couple of games here. Plus, I think the Raiders have some better skill position players that are going to be out there on offense. And then defensively, I don't really think either one of these teams is all that great. Denver probably slightly better, definitely very good cornerbacks over there, but I don't know. I just don't get why there's 4.5 points here when I only have it at a -1. So I like the Raiders plus 4.5. I like teasing the Raiders up on DraftKings to 10.5, getting the 7 and the 10 on my side in that one. I think people are just down on the Raiders here. And you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Sean Payton has turned everything around. Maybe this is a much better team than what we saw last year. Maybe they just quit, last season. I don't know, but I don't think the Broncos deserve to be 4.5 point favorites. They're going to have to show me something before I give them that kind of love. Next game up, we're going to talk about the Sunday night football game, which should be a pretty good one here between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. The Cowboys are a very, very good team this year. I think people are sleeping on how good the Cowboys are. I have them in the top 4 or top 5 in my power ratings. So this is definitely one of those teams that has a chance to go on and win the Super Bowl. Now, I know a lot of people are laughing at that, but, the Giants did make the playoffs last year. They did win a game in the playoffs last year. But the Giants were probably the worst of the teams that made it into the playoffs, although maybe you can make an argument since they won a game that they weren't the worst. But, I just think that the Giants are more of a 500 type team, which is basically what they were last year. The Cowboys are a team that could win 12 or 13 games and have a bye in the first round and really make some noise in the playoffs this year. So I get it that the Cowboys are favored. I think that's the way that it actually should be here. So when I'm looking at this game, though, I get the Cowboys should be favored by about 3. So 3.5 is a little bit too much here. It's not something that I'm going to be putting any money behind, but I do think the Cowboys deserve to be favored even on the road here today. It's just the way I'm looking at it. And that brings us to the final game of week 1 of the 2023 season between the Buffalo Bills and my New York Jets. Going to be the debut of Aaron Rodgers here over in the Meadowlands. Should be a lot of fun, or MetLife Stadium, whatever the hell they decided to call it right now. I still call it the Meadowlands, as does everybody else in this area. So let's see here. Buffalo -2 over on DraftKings. Buffalo -2 over on FanDuel. I get Buffalo should be favored by 2.5 points here. So again, not really any value at 2.5. We're not crossing any key numbers here. I hate to say it, but I do think the Buffalo Bills should beat the New York Jets to start the season here. I hope that I'm wrong because, again, I'm a Jets fan. I hope the Jets are able to pull it off. I hope Aaron Rodgers' debut is a positive one. But at the end of the day, it does look like Buffalo should wind up beating the New York Jets. All right, so there you go. That's going to wrap it up for the first look at the Week 1 2023 NFL Sports Betting Picks video. Make sure to come back every week as we go over these numbers every Sunday, give you guys the opening line, give you guys the early look at everything, try to win you some money. This is Benny Ricciardi from 4Deep.com, signing out.